Life Audio.
Thank you for listening to Your Daily Bible Verse, the podcast that examines one verse each day to learn more about God and His will for our lives. I'm your host, Kyle Norman. After this brief word from one of our sponsors, we will dive into today's verse.
Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. GCU believes in equal opportunity, and the American dream starts with purpose. GCU equips you to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing and create a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. By honoring your career calling, you impact your family, your friends, and your community. Change the world for good by putting others before yourself to glorify God. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 340 academic programs as of September 2024, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
You know, we all struggle in our faith from time to time. Psalm 23 talks about the valley of darkness, and ancient writers would refer to the dark night of the soul. Maybe we struggle with prayer, or don't feel that we are loved by God. Maybe we doubt that we are forgiven. But what if the place where we feel most discouraged is an invitation to meet Jesus in a new way? If you need to be encouraged in your faith, then pick up Alive, Loved, and Free, Finding Jesus When Faith is Hard, available on Amazon.com. Today's verse can be found in 1 John chapter 3, verse 20. Whenever our hearts condemn us, God is greater than our heart, and He knows everything. Publishing a book is something I've always dreamed about. So I was exhilarated when the box of my book arrived, and that moment was finally realized. Holding my first book in my hand, with the rich blues of the cover staring back at me and my name boldly printed as the author, well, I couldn't feel more satisfied. I had worked hard for this moment, and so I took time to relish it. And as the book deals with the life of faith, I prayed that this book may prove helpful to people in the midst of spiritual distress. But then an odd thing happened. As I leafed through the pages, delighting in its layout, suddenly a small voice spoke within me. "This book is trash," it said. And as I read over the passages that I previously crafted, I thought, why did I publish this? No one's going to like this. And my feeling of accomplishment waned, and in that moment I was convinced that this newly minted book spoke only of my insufficiencies, my pride, and my self-condemnation. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we allow our inner voices to be so critical of our efforts? Now, whether these voices come from deep within us or from the enemy of our souls, they tend to speak louder than others. And instead of resting deep in the delight of God, we pay attention to these criticisms that highlight every flaw, mistake, or shadow of imperfection. Do you ever fear that you simply don't measure up? Does self-rejection sometimes speak a little too loudly? If you've ever found yourself rattling off a litany of self-condemnation, then take heart. You are exactly the person that you need to be for this moment. And what is more, every person of faith fights the same battle. From Moses to Elijah, from Peter to Paul, we all have the tendency to listen too much to the voices that call us condemned. But Scripture reminds us that these utterances of judgment are not the only voices that speak over our lives. And for sure, they are not the most definitive. John reminds us in his epistle that we have a God who stands above every work, every effort, every activity. God knows us more deeply than even we know ourselves. And God understands our heart's desire. God sees our faith, our passion, and our fervent reliance upon the Spirit. And God, in God's goodness and grace, responds to us not from the basis of our perfections, but on the basis of Christ's work. Christ is the source of our confidence. He is the source of our peace, and He is the source of our righteous standing before God. Romans 8 reminds us, who shall bring any charge against God's elect? Because it is God who justifies us. Here's the thing. In the end, we are finite people, and we never rise above our own humanity. Each of us have imperfections woven into our lives. That's just part of being human. And that means that our efforts, our activities, and our works, no matter how hard we try, will never be perfect. As a writer, no matter how painstakingly I look over my text, there will always be an errant comma. There will always be a typo somewhere along the way. We all have places to grow, but needing to grow is never something that keeps God's blessings away. Grace is given to us to grab hold of precisely in those times when we are tempted to deny it. What do you condemn yourself for? In what area of your life does your heart find it easy to speak a word of judgment or criticism? Instead of allowing your heart to condemn you, what if you leaned into the voice of God? Instead of the voice of rejection, how might you embrace that divine voice of acceptance and affirmation? Instead of your humanness being something which you feel keeps God away from you, what if it is an opportunity for you to embrace God's power? Now you can do this simply by repeating today's verse over yourself. Dare to hear it as a proclamation over you. The next time that the surge of self-condemnation rises within you, simply acknowledge that criticism and respond by saying, God is bigger than our hearts. It's that simple. Allow that phrase to wash over you. Breathe deeply and whisper that phrase as a truth about your life. When my heart condemns me, God is bigger than my heart. Eventually, that verse will become rooted in your spirit, and it will be a blessing to you. But if you are listening to this and are tempted to condemn yourself today, please remember, God's loving acceptance of you is rooted in who God is, not in your accomplishments. God's love frees you to rejoice in who you are today, and it frees you to grow into who God calls you to be tomorrow. It also means that whatever you offer to the Lord, no matter how might it seem to you in the moment, is met by God's love and by God's gracious power. Because God is greater than our hearts, and God knows everything about us.
I'm best-selling author John Seidel, and I'm the Christian who became an alcoholic, not the other way around. Through the power of Jesus, I got sober, and now I'm sharing both my story and the stories of others just like me, along with helpful interviews from trauma, faith, and addiction recovery experts. If you're a fan of messy sanctification and powerful stories, join me on the Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic podcast on Life Audio or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Let's get radically vulnerable.